welcome to another exciting edition of Tour Report Bids, but not exciting if you are an Arizona Coyote. Hello, Howler. So give away to other Arizona Coyotes out there. Give it away. Well, today, Howler, we're going to be looking back on your first ever season in the Central Division, because of course, obviously, this year we had the you can't really call it a realignment, can we, Howler? No, it's not really a realignment, is it? No, not really. Yeah, so we'll look back on how you've done in each of your regular season series, see if you've managed to build any form of rivalries, your new Central Division teams. So, before we get started with each opponent, let's do an overall picture of the Central Division here. So the Coyotes, in their very first year in the Central Division, came last in 8th place with a record of 25-57. And if we bring up the division standings, we can see that the Colorado Avalanche clinched the division title. So with 119 points. Second place was Minnesota Wild with 113. Third place went to the St. Louis Blues with 109. Those three clinched up the playoff spots for the Central Division. Then in fourth place, the Stars, 98 points. That was good enough for the first wildcard spot this year in the conference. Nashville Predators, fifth with 97 points, good enough for second wildcard spot in the conference. And the remaining standings were Winnipeg Jets, 6th with 89. And then you look at the disparity. 7th, Chicago Blackhawks with 68 points. And 8th place, the Arizona Coyotes with 57. So, really is essential. Positions 1 to 5 with kind of close. And after that, it just goes. Yeah, the disparity of that is between 8th to 5th is not good. Yeah, so, like I say, how we're going to do it one by one. We're going to look over your respective division series and see how well you do with each opponent. So, ready to get started? Bring the first one up. TommyHawk from the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, I think I should remind everyone before we go any further, of course, this year we had a brand new schedule matrix. I thought it was quite exciting, but basically what it meant is that with your division opponents this year, you played all of them at least 3 times and served them 4. So I've not checked beforehand how that he played any of them just 3 times, but we'll give it a go along. So, the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, interestingly, the majority of the Blackhawks fixtures against the Coyotes happened in the second half of the season. You played them once before in the new year, and that was on the Oh god, I put these as in the dates for how to do it American style, so you have to bear with me if I do it wrong. The 12th of November 2021, a close 2-1 loss there. And then you next saw them in January, January the 6th. That was a win, 6-4. And then your last 2 matchups happened in April, and both of them went to overtime. So the 3rd of April was an OT win, 3-2. And the 20th of April was an OT loss, 4-3. So, an even split there, Howler. An even split to kick itself up. But obviously, clearly how the Blackhawks are kind of like a shadow of their former self. They're kind of a team that really, I think you could have maybe got like an extra win there, really. You could have. Really, if you are not doing well in your division, and you can spot a team that's not doing equally as well, not as great, better than you, but not worse. You kind of need to make sure you go in for the kill and maximise your points to Howler. And as we saw in the standings, it was about, what, 9 points I think it was separated between you and Tommy. So maybe 2 of those could have been rated there. So very evenly first series. Did you compare the direct rivalry with Tommy? I mean, I know technically everyone in Essentials is supposed to hate Tommy. Don't look at me, I didn't make the rules. You're not a friendly person, Tommy. You're not friendly. You're more friendly if you would like you, okay? So an evenly matched series there. So both teams got 2 wins each. Both teams suffered 2 losses each. And interestingly, they've all been quite close counters. You had 3 1-goal games, and then your regulation win, Howler, that you got was a 2-goal difference. So quite tight matchups there. So I think it's an even split there. You got there for your first series with Chicago. Next up, it's Bernie. Behave. Sorry, he's a bit giddy for, well, you know why. Right. So, now, of course, Bernie, of course, was one of the 3 Central Division teams that Howler you got an opportunity to get to know a bit more before your move last year, when, of course, our sides were all in the West Division. Hey, happy times, weren't they? No, I can't. No. Even I found meeting Bernie 8 times a season was too much. Too much Bernie. Lovely Bernie, but too much against your team. Yeah. And the other 2, of course, obviously Minnesota and St. Louis. We'll get to those later on, Howler. Interestingly, here another split. Because I think Colorado would be a team that would probably have given you quite heavy losses, given the firepower we know that Colorado has. But yet, looking at the split, again, 3 close matchups, 1-goal difference. There was 1 blowout, which we'll get to that. So let's go through it all. Now you didn't see Bernie at all the first half of the season. It wasn't until we got to the new year that you got to see Bernie. And your first matchup were actually was a double header. Not back to back. Because double headers are very rare in NHL. Very rare you get to see your opponent, literally the same opponent 24 hours time. I mean, obviously last year was different, but very rare that is. So, both losses. So the 14th of January was a 4-3 loss in the shootout. And then the 15th of January, so literally 12 hours later, a heavy loss, 5-0. Probably expected, given how obviously you're playing back-to-back, same opponent. And, but yeah, so that's the only one where Colorado really sort of pummeled you there, Howler. The rest of it, I think he might have got a bit too soft on you. For dog, B-dog. No, don't give me that look. I think you went a bit too soft on each other. You got, and then there was the last 2 wins for you, Howler. 1st of February, a shutout win, 3-2. And then on the 3rd of March, a tight 2-1 victory. So 2 wins, 2 losses, so another split, which is interesting, because I would have thought you had to name any of your central opponents that I thought maybe would probably not give you an easy ride. It probably would have been Bernie. Probably would have been Bernie, but yet, went a bit softer, didn't you, Bernie? Although it wasn't a smooth ride to the cup, was it, Bernie? No. Oh, glad he admit to that. I thought I was going to force it out of him. Not a smooth ride, was it, Bernie, to the cup? No, it was not. But yeah, I look at some of these results and I think, did Colorado go a bit too soft on Arizona there? Could have maybe have had more firepower. And who knows, maybe some of these 2 losses could have been the reason why, Bernie, you didn't go for the full clean sweep of President's Trophy division title, conference title, Stanley Cup. But fair dues. Fair dues there, Bernie. Fair dues. But maybe it shows that actually even a tough team like Colorado, who we know has got fire, can actually sometimes show respect towards their opponents. And then moving on to the Dallas Stars. Again, it's another split, but oh my, did we had some very thrilling games between these two sides. It was a thrilling season series to do, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really thrilling. So again, 2 wins, 2 losses. And of course that last match, that was a real thriller. Victor thought he was going to win that nice and comfortably, weren't you, Uncle Victor? But no, you choked. Luckily, it was an OT win, not a regulation win, because otherwise I would have hated you less if you gave him a regulation win, given the circumstances of that match. So, you're right, Victor. It looks like we're torturing him. It's a bit cam shy. It doesn't come on out often, Victor, on the camera. Unlike a certain someone who's probably waiting to come and cause havoc. You know what I mean? Right, let's focus on this one. So it's a thrilling series. So, the first match was the 27th of November, where you lost 3-2. And then you next saw each other on the 6th of December, where that was a 4-1 loss. And then your first win was on the 20th of February. That was the last day of my Olympic break there. 3-1 win for you there, Howler. And of course, that incredible 4-3 comeback overtime win on the 27th of April. So this was getting right to crunch time for playoff positions, particularly in the West, particularly involving Victor. And that was a real fair one, because obviously Victor, you did end up, I think it was like a 3-0 lead or something, and then obviously Howler just came back, forced the OT, and then ended up getting the winner in OT. It was a 50. So yeah, so despite this being a split, I think was a really thrilling series to watch, and I think it would be interesting to see, give it another couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 seasons down the line, you two could maybe become the bitter rivals. I mean, we're trying to look for. Do you not like the sound of that, Victor? Do you not like the sound of that? Be lovely, love it. Be a friendly rivalry. You haven't got many of those. Look, be a lovely friendly rivalry. I think it could be could be an interesting friendly rivalry between you two sides, don't you think? Well, at least Howler agrees. It's a good job, because it's technically Howler's video. Yeah, but it's a really thrilling. This is what I expected, because I wasn't too sure which of these division opponents this year you'd get a thrilling series out of Howler. I wouldn't be able to call it, because you could be any done being quite a thrilling series. But this is quite a real thrilling one to watch. It'd be very interesting to see how this is going to play out in future seasons to come. I think you two could really develop a really interesting rivalry, even if dear Uncle Victor doesn't want one. So now we move on to the Minnesota Wild. Here is where the splits end. So the first sort of 3 series has been split. This is where, unfortunately, it was a clear winner. And this is one of the few division opponents you only got to see 3 times. How you only saw Nordy 3 times. Like I said, this year we had a new schedule matrix brought in, where basically, when it comes to your division opponents, you'll now see all of them at least 3 times. Some of them you might get to see 4. But obviously here, this was one of the rare times where you saw Minnesota only 3 times. And unfortunately, it was Minnesota who got the best of you here, Howler. Probably wasn't helpful that the majority of your fixtures was it was around about November time. And that for Minnesota was a real strong period. Because around about that time period, they were literally just knocking off, Western Conference after Western Conference opponent. It was a real real scare, because I don't think anybody saw that coming from Minnesota. And of course, it did give them a real help in sort of cementing their playoff position when they got to it in the end. And so, the first match for you two, and actually, they've all been kind of high-scoring affairs. In fact, in all three game matchups, the winner won by scoring 5 goals. Oh yes. Ooh, spooky. So, 10th November was the first match you lost 5-2. Then you saw each other the last day of November. 5-2 loss, so 2 5 losses. And then your lone win came on the 26th April. So it's proper back-to-back between, the two green clubs. The two Minnesota North Stars. Oh! don't, I'm not going to go there. It's about Howler today, not that. That was the win for Howler, 5-3. So big victory there. You got 2 big victories there, Howler, on that weekend. You really did. So yeah. So I think Howler, you saw Minnesota in a different time. You might have got better because obviously, like I said, Minnesota was one of the 2 teams you saw last year when we were all West Division pals. Well, most of us were the West Division pals. But yet, Minnesota, they were literally dominating them, but they actually really were. It was sort of a weird tie, because obviously nobody would have predicted Minnesota to be a serious contender, and yet they were just knocking off Western Conference opponents, literally left, right, centre. They were strong for that, and that was a big period for Minnesota, because they got loads of points, and that actually helped them to cement their position in second place. I mean, if we look at the gap between Nordy and Burnley, it was only 6 points. And actually, they're only separated by 3 regulation wins there. Nordy got 53 regulation, Burnley got 56. So quite tight there. But yeah, so unfortunately, Minnesota got the best of this series. But I think if you had those first 2 at different points in the year, it could have been. Now we move on to the Nashville Predators. Again, another team you only saw 3 times this year. But if you're like me, you kind of thought 3 times would be a bit what's enough. The Predators got the best in this series. You only got 1 win over the Predators in this 3 game series this year, Howler. And it was we'll get on to it in a moment. Right. So, the first 2 matches were kind of heavy losses. You lost 4-1 on the 30th of November. And then you lost 4-2 the 8th of January. Now, you then didn't see the Predators going until the very last day of the season, and also the very last home game of the season for Arizona, and not just any last home game, but of course, the last ever Coyotes home game in Gila River Arena. Of course, it's been a very hard season for the Coyotes, not just on the ice, but also off the ice. And this kind of had a bit of history to it. I mean, it was a real good game. You had to come back from a very hefty deficit. I mean, Nash probably thought he was going to escape away victory and spoil the party. Nope. Nope. Howler had other ideas, didn't you, Howler? Yeah. But it was quite iconic here. And what I learned is that apparently, in your first ever game in Gila Arena all those years ago, your first ever opponent were Nash. So there you go. It's a nice little bit of history there. It's a nice historic history. Now, of course, at the time of the schedule coming out, we didn't know what was going to happen with the Coyotes situation. But in a way, it's kind of a nice little historical way there. If you're being forced to leave your home, or pastors knew, then why not go out with a little bit of history? So yeah, Nashville was the first ever team to enter Gila River Arena, and they'll be the last team to enter Gila River Arena. Yeah, it's right, wasn't it? And you can look back on it and say, well, despite the circumstances, despite the reasons why I'm being kicked out, you can look back on it and go, well, at least we got a really great win over a really good team, a very strong team. And of course, that game, obviously, last game of the season, both you knew where you were going. Howler off the golf course, Nash on to face Bernie. Neither side really had much to play for, but at the same time, pride was at stake, and also the fact I think it would have been better for Coyotes they could have left you with a win rather than a loss. Don't you agree? Yeah, I agree. But it was a very nice little history there, wasn't it? You know, you got to see Nash first opponent in Guru Arena, last opponent in River Arena. Kind of had to be someone from your division, didn't it? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it'd be a bit weird if it was somebody, if it was an Eastern Conference opponent or somebody else. Just right with it, yeah, there you go. So unfortunately, that was a win in the a series win for Nash, but in the end, Howler was the real winner because he got the last laugh. I knew this was going to happen, Howler. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. It's a brand new camera as well, Howler. It's brand new. Literally, I knew. This is Louis. Stop zooming yourself in! For God's sake, you're giving me all abuse a nasty fry because you're a very large blue polar bear on the screen. Louis! Howler, sort him out, please. Sort him out, Howler. Thank you. Get. There we go. What is it with you and the whole... Let me see a camera. What is it with you? What is it? Oh, I would recommend keeping like the whole segment, but it's probably not. I did right. He looks like you're strangling him to death. So you better give him back to me. Give him back to me. Give him back to me. There we go. You sit there. There you go. Alright. Anyway. Here's Louis. And Louis dominated this series. He saw Louis 4 times. And oh my, did he dominate series. I can see some high scoring here. Some very high scoring here. Now, of course, Louis this year was your home opener, Howler. Yeah, so the last home opener, River Arena, Louis. So it was Louis' home opener. That was a big win for Louis. 7-4. That was the 18th of October for the timestamps. You then saw a show again on the 16th of November. That was a tight 3-2 win for Howler. And then you didn't see each other again until the last month of the season in April. 4th of April, you lost 5-1, so another heavy win for Louis. And then it was an overtime loss on the 23rd of April. Excuse me, what? The overtime loss on the 23rd of April, 5-4 OT. Now, of course, Louis is another team that you obviously saw last year, but we were good Central Division pals. So, not Central, West Division pals. It was lovely. Lots of Louis. Don't you dare go anywhere near that again. Now, of course, what's interesting of the 3 of your now permanent division rivals that you got to be with the West with Large Howler was the fact that you two kind of had to exhaust most of your games, didn't you? Yeah, because obviously Bernie and Nordy had COVID scares, and obviously that meant that they had to rejiggle the schedules around. And also a lot of other teams faced this too last year. But in our West Division, it meant that you two had to basically use up a lot of your 8 games. So instead of being all spread out across the season, you kind of pretty much used them all up quite early on, including one of those games where Louis was in his reverse retro reds. Love that one. Is he giving me the eyes? Is he giving me the eyes? Give me the eyes. I love that game because it was like got to take the piss out of Louis. Well, it's your own damn fault. You're called the Blues. So why on earth did your reverse retro? Did you paint yourself red? Even the the TV graphics got confused because on one of your goals, the little graphic that says graphic that you had at the time that showed the T logo who scored didn't show you. It showed Howler instead. So even your TV broadcast graphics for hang on, I'm sure that's not the right colour. Very sure it's not the Blues that scored. I thought it was definitely Coyotes. Yeah. No, it wasn't. So wait, I think this really should be the rivalry. Do you not think? Do you not think me Howler's rival? Because you did have a very fierce time in the West Division last year. Because obviously you two saw a lot of each other, quite a lot. Straight away, because you had to use up a lot of your 8 games, because obviously Bernie and Nordy couldn't get a grip on COVID. I'm not sure if I can remember if you two had any scares last year. We had like a 24-hour one where we basically got 24 hours shut down and we were straight back into it. So basically the fact that meant last year the West Division, these two, they became quite fierce compared to against one another. They may not be admitting it, but they were quite fierce competitors. And I'm just wondering whether that has sort of boiled over into the Central Division now that you two are all sort of Central Division foes for life. But yeah, so so interest. I think this is the one to watch out for, particularly as Louis trying to go back in front of the camera. Get back here. Back away, Louis. Yeah, so I think this is definitely going to be the rivalry that we're going to be wanting to keep an eye on out in the Central for a good couple of years to come. Don't. We've got Mick Emus from the Pick Jets joining us. Now this should be a very interesting one here, because you've got because of course now the Central Division of course is dominated by teams, relocation teams. You've got Burnley, you've got the Avalanche who relocated from Quebec. You've got the Stars who relocated from Minnesota. You've got Howler here, who relocated from Winnipeg, and you've got Mick here, who relocated from Atlanta. So the Central Division now is dominated, with half of that division basically making up of teams that were relocation franchises. You've got three expansion franchises. No, three. Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused now. Yeah, three expansion franchises in the form of Louis, the Blues, who were in that league expansion of 67. Nordy and the Wild were 2000, and then Nash, the Predators, were 98. And of course, TommyHawk, Chicago, is the original 6. So this should be a bit awkward, given the nature of how the relocation with you went down. But and interestingly, it was the Winnipeg Jets who won overall. But if we look at the series split, how close affair. I say close numbers here, because the first matchup on November the 29th, there was only one goal. There was only one goal. So, and it was regulation wins, and it was won by Winnipeg. Oh no, sorry, it was Howler. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. We're getting exhausted now. We're coming near to the end of it now. The exhaustion's kicking in. Right, scratch that. The first matchup on November the 29th, that was a win for Howler. Howler won that, but you only got one goal. So a bit of a snooze fest there, but it was a win for Howler. 1-0 with Howler. The rest were all wins for Mick here. So, because after that, you didn't see each other again until the second half of the season. January the 4th, it was a 3-1 loss. February 27th, it was a 5-3 loss. And then March the 27th was an OT loss 2-1. So they're tight. So a very, very close, tight affair. Between even that 5-3 loss, you can see these have been very close affairs. It's either been 1-0, it's either been 1-goal margins or 2-goal margins, but at the end of the day, it was an overall series win for Mick. I think this could be a rivalry in the making. Not just because of the history between obviously what happened with the original Winnipeg Jets becoming our lovely Howler. We all love dearly. Yes, we do. Don't you Howler, fight back. Fight back. Yeah, we love Howler. Love Howler. Love you, Howler. But also these could be two very good signs. So I think and it would be very interesting. Well, I know it's not going to happen because the leaders would like to do USB Canadian clubs for outdoor games. But I would love to see you two in an outdoor game. I actually would. I would love to see you two in an outdoor game. I would love to see what you two would do in terms of jerseys. Because instead of Mick's recent jerseys that he's done, for alternates and alternates, he's tried to claim some of that old heritage back, even though technically you haven't got the rights to that old heritage because you relocated from Atlanta. But yeah, so it's So I think this could be give it a couple of years, but I think this could be a very interesting ride. It'll be very interesting to see how it goes down. That is an overall snapshot of how the Arizona Coyotes fared in their first ever season in the Central Division. Tough, very tough first, you have to say, but Howler, as the old song goes, things can only get better. Well, you can live and dream, mate. You can live and dream. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to Howler for being on our show. We love you, Howler. Love you, Howler. We miss you in the Pacific. We really do. I would say a massive thank you to your third Central Division rivals, but I'm not, because some of them just basically misbehaved, and they know who they are. They know who they are. So it would be good cut them here. How's going to go and sort them out? You are Howler. You can go and sit. You can easily sit on them. You can easily sit on them. Thank you for staying with me here, Howler. Thank you for joining us. If you've loved the show, do click the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, come on, you click the subscribe button. That way you'll never miss a single moment when you contact into a brand new editions of Chill Report Bits. If you haven't listened and subscribed to the Chill Report podcast yet, you can do so wherever you get your podcast. If you need to find out where we are, then go to our webpage on Anchor.fm. It's anchor.fm/Chill Report. I'll give that just again. It's anchor.fm/Chill Report. And if you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can do. We're always checking the mailbox to see if we've got any feedback. Right, you can get in touch with with Chill Report at chillreportpodcast@gmail.com or it's chillreportpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, whether it's your thoughts on the Sharks season, any questions you've got, or if you've got any ideas for future Chill Report bids, send those in and we could maybe consider doing them as a future episode. So get in touch. There's loads of ways to do it. You've got no excuses now. Until next time, it's goodbye from Howler and from me. And all that's left to say is, and so I'll leave you now.